I say what's going on, family. Welcome back to the EOE Network. I'm your boy T Ford. I am joined today by my son, Terrell Ford Jr., aka T Ford Jr., aka the bowler, aka the swimmer, aka my guy in this house that we should always scream, "Go Blue, go." Hey, you got anything for the people?
Go Blue, y'all.
Hey, he said go blue. So here for day 8, we got a good one today, baby. It's strictly entitled Playing to the Whistle. So for all my sports fans out there, for all my sports fanatics, you guys know what it means to play into the whistle. We're at the point right now where Goggins is redeveloping himself, recommitting himself, rededicating himself to something new because he has gone through emotion, not really emotion. He has gone through a situation where he was forced to become something more. He was forced to dig down into his soul to see how he can reinvent himself. Now, if you just look back at it, where we've been through, him been through a lot of ups and downs this book. It's not like Can't Hurt Me when he was just pushing along. Now we're coming off of a surgery that could have been catastrophic. So if you guys still with me, Goggins had just found out, his leg, after all this running, has given out on him. And it forced him to sit down for a little while. But if you guys know anything about Goggins, sitting down for a little while ain't really his style. So he had to redevelop himself, recommit himself to say, hey, what am I going to do? How can I become more? So Goggins, like myself, he looked to see what else he can do. Goggins became a cyclist, baby. A cyclist out there putting out them watts. So in this chapter, he dug deep. He dug deep to reinvent himself to become something more. So he competed in a new event where I think he went like 400 miles in like 2 or 3 days on a bike, or I think it was 2 or 3 days on a bike from somewhere in Tennessee to somewhere in Mississippi. He was out there on that good old Griffin. Y'all remember the Griffin from Can't Hurt Me, where he participated in Ironman events, and it was like, that Griffin blew up on him, or he had a Griffin. So he brought it back out. So now it's 2022. The Griffins don't exist anymore. I was looking them up like, where the hell can you get a Griffin from? They don't exist. I'm a specialized type of guy. I'm a canyon type of guy. I'm one of those guys. So like looking for a Griffin, I was like, whew, that bike is heavy. And he still had this bike in storage. But anyways, playing to the whistle is just simply you play until the final whistle is up. You've seen a lot of people, like as a coach, I always tell my kids, you play until the final whistle. I don't care if we're losing by 50 or we're winning by 50. Play until the final whistle. But we have grown in a time now, in a community, in an era now where if you're getting blown out, people don't want to play anymore. But then there's always that one player out there who's going to continue to play. You got them Pat Bevs in the world, like you trying to dribble out the ball, and it's like they're losing by 17. He steals the ball and go in for a layup. And people like, bro, what you doing? You going against the cultural norms of, we just sit here and trying to dribble it out. No, we ain't going to dribble it out. We're going to play into the whistle. Or you got that guy who hasn't been in the game, that guy or that girl who hasn't been in the game. They just trying to get their name on the stat sheet. So they playing into the final whistle. Now, if you're looking at big time events where people has played to the final whistle and it has made a dramatic difference in the outcome of a game, related to this story, we could take it back to, I'm a U of M guy. I scream go blue go. Back when I think it was Jim Harbaugh's first season, playing against those people from the west side of the state, and we go to punt the ball away, but they played into the final whistle. They sent all 11 men in. They blocked the punt. We fumbled the punt. They blocked the punt. The rest is history. They're going for a touchdown. Derailed our whole season that year. Same thing for those people down south. If you know Alabama, Auburn, Nick Saban went for the win, tried to kick a 60-yard field goal, came up short. Auburn had a man back. He caught the ball, returned it the other way, derailed their whole season. So that's simply what it is by playing into the whistle. I know people might be like, they thought this chapter was all about sports. It's not. It's about your own internal whistle. You play until you blow your last whistle. You continue to give it your all until your time is up on this earth. And that's what Goggins had to do. He had to recommit himself, redevelop himself to become something new and something more, because this guy now that we have loved for the longest, for the last half a decade or more, he gets older. Your body starts to go through different changes. Lando mentioned a couple of days ago, your body starts to go through different changes. As a man that's aging, you start to feel different. Trying to do something 30 days in a row, your body's like, you start to feel those little aches. But for a guy who specializes in ultra events, for that guy who's out here putting in those miles and miles and continues to push through hurt and pain, It's going to come a time when the human body gives out. He reached that point with his legs where his body was kind of giving out. Not going to give it all the way, was kind of giving out. And he had to say, okay, he was forced to sit down. And when you forced to sit down, you start thinking to yourself. You start wondering, like, is this it? Have I ran my last race? Have I pedaled my last event? Have I done my last? So you start looking at things just a little bit different. But internally, you haven't blew that final whistle yet. So what do? You go back in the lab. You go back in the dungeon. You start thinking, what else can I do? That's a great Dr. Martin Luther King once said, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. Same thing here. If you can't run anymore, you cycle. You can't cycle anymore, you spin. You can't spin anymore, you find something else. You become an archery. You find something else to keep pushing that envelope, because it's never over until you say it's over. It's not over when people write you off, but it's over when you say it's over. That's why we look up to people like LeBron. He's going to go out on his shield. Not because we said, oh, at this many years, you should be giving it up. No. Serena won out on her shield. Michael Phelps won out on his shield. Then some people who just said, oh, I reached a certain age, I'm done. But they probably still had a little bit more to give. And that's where Goggins is at now. He's at that transitional point of his athletic part of his life. But then there's another part of his life that he's getting ready to transition to, because it's like you have did everything for the armed forces. You don't been in the Air Force. You don't been Ranger School. You have been to you don't been to Navy SEALs. You have tried out for Delta selection twice. And now it's like, what else is it for you to do? So now he's at the point like, hey, I'm an author. I'm a best-selling author. New York Times bestseller, self-published author. What more can I do? You know, David like, I'm good, baby. Got some monies. I'm good. I got this nice woman. I don't have to do anything anymore. I can get a couple speaking events and I'm good. But then that Goggins comes out like, hey, man, get up. Get up. At night, I'm hearing voices in my head and I'm tossing and turning. Get up. So now Goggins like, hey, what else can we do, bro? Now he's dug into his bag. He's like, hey, I'm going to go do some other stuff that they say I shouldn't be doing, that I'm not capable of doing. And now we introduce Goggins into the wildland firefighters. When Goggins go out here, he want to fight fires. Goggins out here studying while he's on the bench right now to become EMS. You know, he's getting his medical certifications. You know, he's using his time adequately. So let's think about that. If someone has ever been on the bench, I've been on the bench for injuries. I'm on the bench right now because, you know, was relieved from corporate America. But what do you do when you're on the bench? Do you sit back and mope about it? Or do you sit back and go back in your own mental lab, in your internal lab to say, what more can I become? What more can I do? What more can I study? Just because somebody else say your time is up with them, but your time ain't up on this earth. So when your time is not up on this earth, the whistle hasn't blown yet. That means you still had a time to get out here and go do whatever it is that you want to become, or go become something more. So what if your career, if you are like the many of us that corporate America is saying we downsizing and they're letting people go, guess what? As long as this brain's still working and you still got that heartbeat and you can still inhale and exhale, you can go become something more. Maybe it's something deep down in your heart of hearts that you've been wanting to do. Go do it. You've been wanting to write that book, go write it. You want to go produce a song, go do it. You want to start a YouTube, go do it. Whatever it is that you want to do it on your terms and blow the whistle on yourself when you're ready to blow the whistle. When you're ready to hang it up, that's when you hang it up. Don't put your livelihood or put your dreams in the hand of no one else, because there's a lot of people, as we have learned through this book, that's not willing to get in that foxhole, aka the trenches with you, to go through those dark times with you. A lot of people only want to come around when the light's on, and that's what Goggins had to fit. That's what David and Goggins had to figure out. A lot of people don't want to be in the dark, in the trenches. A lot of people don't want to be out there running with you at night into the early mornings. But when the sun is shining and the paparazzi is out, everyone wants to be by your side. So, playing into the whistle. Who in your life, or what are you doing in your life to play into the whistle? Play into your whistle until you blow the final whistle on yourself. Just because the final whistle has blown somewhere else, the game ain't always over, because we don't see from the greats like Kobe Bryant. The game may have been over for the team, but he's right back out there on the court shooting threes and free throws because his final whistle hasn't blown yet, because he know he can still get better. So that's what you do. You play into the whistle. You play into your final whistle And once you blow that final whistle, you can hang your hat up, hang your cleats up, put your hard hat up, your robe, your apron, whatever. You can hang it up and say, job well done. Job well done. So that's where we're at with Goggins right now. Goggins is in one of those places where he's going to become something else and something more that he's going to take us on this journey through. So with that being said, as always, if you have found value in this video today, hit that like and subscribe button, share it with your friends. Goggins is taking us on a journey through his Never Finished book right now. I think we have 1 or 2 more days, but I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for staying tuned, for joining us on this journey. Hey, as always, y'all continue to be good. Y'all continue to be great.